All right, so anyway, I'm having a suboptimal Sunday and decide to kind of soothe my ache watching a video that I thought I might enjoy. And turns out I'm not the only person who's having a melancholy Sunday. A melancholy Sunday. But there was a moment in that video that that I thought was pretty funny and reminded me of my own life. And I'm going to play it right now. We'll see if it all works out, this whole production scheme I have. Okay, so that little collage of sound you just heard was a band in a casino somewhere playing You Shook Me All Night Long. And it came up onto the guitar solo. And the guitar player launches into the solo with what was obviously not the right note. And based on my own life, I recognized what this poor fella had gone through. And so throughout rock and roll history, one of the strongest statements a guitar player and even a singer can make is to come in on the one chord playing the fifth scale degree. Now, You Shook Me All Night Long is in the key of G, and it's covered ad nauseum all over the internet and YouTube with all kinds of analysis. But the beginning of that solo is a pretty good example of that sound of, a guitar launching into the solo with playing the fifth scale degree, which in the key of G is going to be a D. The Chuck Berry, Johnny B. Good solo is ultimately this big ripping expression that starts with the fourth scale degree bent up a whole step to the fifth scale degree, and then a double stop played on the E and the B string at the sixth fret. The song's in B flat, so he's playing an F. And it just, in my own life, I play with this guy named Lightning Willie, and sometime a couple years ago, he decided he was going to start tuning his guitar in D standard tuning. So the same intervals as E standard tuning, but with the root note being a D, then I guess the next one's going to be a G and C and so on and so forth. I think that's what it is. I'm not going to get into that. But I have a long history with this guy, and he's played in standard tuning, he's played in E flat, and now he's playing in D, and he did not walk downstairs to that key. I think when I met him and started playing with him, he was playing in E flat, and I would tune to E flat for that. Even though I taught guitar like 5 days a week, and picking up a guitar that's tuned to E flat was really jarring, like every single time if we had more than a few days off, or maybe like a couple weeks off, and then I would come back to the guitar. I'm really going off on that tangent. But then he went up to E standard for some reason for a while, maybe because I complained or bass players complained. He plays with an upright bass player, and those guys don't always like tuning down because the basses don't like it. So he decided his compromise would be to go all the way down. That way bass players could generally play more or less in standard tuning, and he would be fine. Well, I've sort of followed him on these changes that he's made, but not always. Once he went into standard tuning, I never went into one of his alternate tunings. I just played things in other keys. But now that he's down a whole step, sometimes we'll play something from what I would call like a legacy catalog of one of his songs, and I've played it a lot before, and I have muscle memory for it. And then it comes along for the solo, and oh man, sure enough, I will start out with the idea that I'm going to play that fifth interval over the tonic as the opening for my solo. I mean, do I think this is a revolutionary idea? No, I don't. But it is really widely acceptable. On the other hand, what ends up happening when I'm a whole step above the actual key of the song and kind of do the same thing, I end up playing the major sixth. And the major sixth is a really kind of whimsical, happy sound compared to the resonance and of the fifth. Maybe I should say consonants, right? So over this chord, pretty strong over this chord. If I play this note over this chord, it's a little bit of it's kind of happy to me. I don't know. Versus, you know, I don't know if I'm doing a good job of demonstrating this, and I really didn't even plan on this tangent. I was just going to show how to play the right way to play the solo to Shook Me All Night Long, because this video reminded me that I used to teach it to my students years ago when I would teach and people wanted to learn that kind of stuff. And I have a transcription of it that I made that I'll upload along with this video, and it'll be in the description if you care about that. So the real mission of this video is to talk about that solo and how you play it. Going back to it again, because I reviewed it today before making this video, I heard it a little bit differently or noticed some things that maybe I didn't notice the first time. This is probably obvious to everybody else who's ever figured it out, and maybe every other video. But I'm going to go through it. So it opens up with, let's see, I'm making noise here. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's close enough. I'm not going to go over this 1,000 times. I'm just going to walk through each one of the licks and a couple of little details that I find interesting. So it starts out from the 5th fret of the G string, bending up a whole step to the D. So that pinch harmonic was non-intentional. And then that's a little detail I want to talk about right there. That open G. So he comes down from the 3rd fret of the 1st string to the 2nd string. Yeah. So 3, 3, 6 on the B string. Whole step bend on the 3rd string. Back down. B flat on the 3rd string, 3rd fret. G on the 4th string, 5th fret, D on the A string, 5th fret, and then he plays the open G on top of that, very lightly and somewhat deliberate sounding. So you have like so, and I have set up this sample to play here. Have to be very careful with the AC/DC, but I think I can get away with about 2 seconds of it. So that. He's a little bit soft and subtle with the open G, so it sounds intentional to me. Nice detail. So anyway, and I used to play this lick a little bit differently, but I'm not going to show you how I used to play it. I think he's doing it in open position. So he plays open G to F on the D string, 3rd fret, open D, C on the A string, that's a 3rd fret. He has a distinctive vibrato that's not really my trick, so, you know, I'm not going to try and emulate all that detail. And then B flat on the A string, that's the 1st fret, to G on the low E string, 3rd fret. And I use my middle finger for that so that I can grab the B flat on the G string. So you have, and then kind of a tight muted. So that whole lick. Then he gets into kind of the happy major part, and this is where that major 6th sound comes into the solo and is a nice relief from that deep bluesy kind of aggressive sound of the minor pentatonic. So what he did there, I think it's walking up to the 4 chord, which is a C chord, and that's 5 and 7 of the tonic. I'm not sure what's happening there in the music, and I'm not going to go into doing all that part of it. So that's 3 and 5 of the C chord. Oh, I've lost my place. Oh, there we go. I'll walk up through these two little double stop or kind of these minor third interval ideas. So that's 7-6-6 on the G and the B, 9-8-8 on the G and the B, and then 9-8, 10 on the B string, bend up a whole step, 10 on the high E string, that held bend, return back down to 10. So there we go again. And then I think like it's a minor third to the G. Oh yeah, so he's going major sixth against the G. That's the 9th fret, 8th fret of the B string, and then the 11th fret. (11) bent up to 13. 11, 9. I'm sorry, 8 on the B string, 9 on the G string. So that whole bit of phrases together. Just beautiful guitar playing. Okay, then it moves up to kind of like the second movement of the solo, which is the high F bent up to a G. So that's a F bent up to a G, kind of like a scoopy bend, you know, or. And that's just walking down a pentatonic. That kind of like movement in fourths is pretty common. So this is this is G to D to F to C. I guess it's actually F to a C that's bent up to a D and then returns to a C. So after the F that precedes the C bent up to D, you come down to B flat, G, and then you're going to play a double stop on the G and the B strings. And then at the 17th fret, I haven't really been calling out the fret numbers, have I? I've been calling out note names. This is a little more, I just know what the note names are up here. But down to 17 down to 15. Oh yeah, so 17 down to 15, double stop G and B, 17 on the low D on the D string, and then another double stop on the 17th fret. So after that little double stop business, so I'm playing a this is emulating this sound here. Right? I'm playing a C, which is 17th fret, bent up to 19. And I'm playing the 18th fret of the B string. So you have. Yep. So that's just more of that same kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really shuffle, but I just sort of think of it a little, probably all downstrokes. And then he's got the happy-go-lucky major third lick that happens in this song. So he's bending the major third up to the 4th scale degree. So he bends the, what is that, the 19th fret up a half step. And then the 17th fret up a whole step, I think. So that lick right there is 17 bent up to 19 and return, pull off to 15, 17 of the B string, 17 of the E string, and that's back to 17 on the B, and then 2 times on the 15 of the high E string. So this lick is kind of similar to the ones that happened earlier. So this is 15, 15, 18, 17 bent up a whole step and return. I believe it's the 15th fret of the G string, and then the 15th fret of the B string, and then finally he plays from the 15th fret of the B up to the 17th fret, down to the 15th fret of the E, with some nice little sweet, a nice little sweet bend on the 17th fret of the high E, and that is the whole solo. I'm gonna play it kind of slowly. Let's see if I can frame up this guitar. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the Shook Me All Night Long guitar solo. I'm one of the thousands that probably exist on YouTube. I haven't put out a guitar video in, I think, over a year. And I make these more for my enjoyment and when I have the time. And sometimes I have the time, but I don't have the information that I would enjoy. Throughout this video, just to kind of, there's another video that I've made and haven't posted yet. It's about repairing a Warm Audio 4-channel preamp. And in that video, I talk about using 2 of those channels, recording a Marshall cabinet, recording a Marshall amp through my Marshall cabinet. And the amp was a early 1970 metal panel, 50 watt, that we got from Lon Cohen, and it sounded fantastic. And I have a basket weave, or whatever you call it, a cane front Marshall cabinet with the original speakers. I think they're Rolla Celestians. So on one of the speakers, and one of the sounds you've been hearing is a 121 and a 57 in that clip that everybody uses that lines them up. And the other one is, one of my clients gave me this homemade 3D printed clip that holds 2 57s, and in one I have a Unidyne, and the other one I have a 57. I'll take a picture of it, and they're like pointed in kind of a convergent fashion. And I've been going back and forth today when I was working on this, playing this solo and listening to the 2, and it's funny how I like different things about different ones. I do think that the Unidyne in 57 sounds a little more like I think of the song, but there's parts of the 121 and 57 that I like the sound of, and it just sounds smoother. If you, I don't know how I'm gonna, maybe I'll put some kind of, maybe I'll make a section where you can guess, and you can put that in the comment. I don't know. I'm not really very good at setting people up for, setting up a video for interaction, and I'm sure this will just, fade off into the world of YouTube guitar solo explanations. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has a better Monday. I'm probably not going to put this out until Monday or Tuesday, but I hope everybody has a good Memorial Day week. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about all. That's about all. All right. Thanks for checking out the video and staying till the end. I wish I had more organized, compelling stuff to talk about.